Howdy do, buckaroos. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since we had some good quality content, so we're finally going to tear the Duramax motor down. So I'm pretty excited. I'm kind of scared to see what we're going to find, honestly, but we're just going to get right down to it, get the heads ripped off this thing. We're going to see how good and or bad it looks. So I'm going to prop the phone up for you guys, and we're going to tear into it.
Been in my zone, feel it still in my spirit, I've been on my own. Still just living my legend till my day's gone. Still been feeling grateful just for making it home. Giving me grace, feelings of God, let's give him some love. Giving me space, hold the applause, just give me a hug. If I said that I would catch you, would you fall for me? If you ain't heard from me lately, would you call for me? I'm in this ride like wow, I really came from nothing. I remember days, it was pain and suffering. Making it to brighter days was my main discussion. Now I'm making music daily and they saying they love it like wow. I came from nothing, I came from nothing, I can't stop. Came from nothing, I came from nothing, I can't stop.
Alright, so about 10 minutes in, got the wiring harness stripped off of it, got the accessory bracket on this side stripped off, and it already looks quite a bit more bare than it was. Front of the motor looks fairly well. You can kind of see where it was leaking or cooling out right here at the thermostat housing, at this elbow here. But I mainly took it apart to fix these oil leaks. When I took it apart, notorious Duramax problem, two-piece motor mount, which these on any Duramax are gonna do it just because it's a glued rubber mount, especially higher miles, which this one is, and especially a higher horsepower one, which this one is. It will just tear them things apart. I've replaced the driver's side, it is still good, but I am going to show you guys a mod you can do to your motor mounts to still keep the soft motor mount, but have an upgrade. So now, we're going to start taking thermostat housing, all that stuff off, Y-bridge, turbo mouthpiece. We'll get the injector lines and rails and stuff off. Then we'll start getting injectors out, valve covers, rocker boxes, get the heads ripped off. Stay tuned.
I got a buddy of mine who headed down south not too long ago. He's been calling me up, he's been wearing me out, blowing up my telephone, telling me to come on down and take a look around, see if I don't agree, that he's found a place with the prettiest girls that he's ever seen. I jumped in my truck and I fired it up.
Alright, so I got the front thermostat crossover off, and when you do these enough times, you can get it out completely in one piece with that pipe still attached, this pipe still attached, and the pipe that feeds your turbo all in one. And I just wanted to show you guys some of my mountain ingenuity up on the mountain. And this is kind of an old school Duramax trick for these Y bridges. You run 4-inch hose clamps around on either side to clamp this thing together, which it actually looks like it's pretty close. And I actually had to silicone it because, like I said, this happened up camping a while back and had to seal it any way possible. So we stuck some silicone in there and some hose clamps, and it was still blown out every once in a while up there on the mountain. So my fix was go over to the wood pile, grab a piece of bark here, and I just shoved that bad Larry down in there so it couldn't blow it out. Very hokey, but it did the job. No more of that. Let's keep going. Let's get this Y bridge out, which I'm only 1 bolt away, and this whole Y bridge will come out, which I believe it's a 14 up here. Now it looks like a 13, the only size I don't have over here. Let's see if 14 will get it loose. It did. And this, kids, is why you don't run cheap eBay EGR deletes. You can see it doesn't line up. I had to bend the hell out of this bracket and still, and that's why it blows out Y bridges. So when people post, just did an EGR delete, now my Y bridge blows out, don't run eBay EGR deletes. You're better off with the stock stuff and just running that than the eBay stuff. Apparently I did too good of a job. Them hose clamps are holding on tight. So let's put you back on the time lapse, and I'm going to keep tearing into it. It's coming apart pretty quickly. We're at about the 20-minute mark from a fully dressed engine to this, so not doing too bad here on a Sunday. Let's keep going.
She's a Palomino. I don't answer to anyone else but the man upstairs. I go wherever he goes. I'm a runner by nature and man. You can find me over where the wind blows. So don't fall in love, cause I'll break your heart then leave you. Yeah, and say I told you so. I don't got the time to explain it. Gotta be somewhere and I'm chomping at the bit to get to Fort Worth by Friday night. Rider for 8 seconds, win that prize. There's a little dive bar east of town where the outlaws stop to horse around an old stomping ground to spin their load, find true love before hitting that road. Ride, cowboy, ride, cowboy, ride wild through the desert plains, steal those stars like Jesse James. Ride, cowboy, ride, cowboy, roll till the sun comes up, pushing that dirt till the job gets done. I'm a gunslinger, young gun, baby, I'm a real McCoy. This life ain't easy, but it's all I know, so ride hard, cowboy.
Alright, so we're making good progress. Got this side down to the rocker arms and push rods and things like that, and head bolts. So I got the upper valve cover and rocker box off on that side. As you can see, I haven't on this side yet, and I'm going to show you a tip. So as everybody knows, on all these Duramaxes, the valve covers are held on by 5mm Allens. It's a M6 by 1/0 thread pitch bolt with a 5mm Allen. And everyone's like, ooh, I always strip them all out. You know why everyone strips them all out? Let's get in close. You see those? How they have dirt and gunk in them. Dirt and gunk. Even that one's only got a little bit. Dirt and gunk. It's because they don't try and clean that out, so you're not getting your full engagement from your tool. You can see on the tool, the shiny is where you're getting your engagement in the bolt, and the black is where it stops. So if half of this is dirt, grime, what have you, you're only getting half the engagement of the tool, and with an Allen, you want as much as you can. And so of course, if you're only using just the tip of this thing, it's going to strip them out. So then you're up shit creek without a paddle, and you have to have some extractors, which I do have, but I have never needed one because you always clean the dirt out before you get yourself in a pickle. And I'm actually pretty surprised with how clean this motor looks so far on the top end. 378,000 miles on this unit. I've never had the valve covers off. So, original head bolts, everything. And she's looking pretty well. And as you can see, this is my issue hole. This is where the injector hold down bolt threads in. And the threads are gone. It just pulled them plumb out of the head. So, that's why we're doing all of this, is because of this hole specifically. I mean, of course it was a leaky turd and it had blown head gasket, but it still drove, which shamefully, not shamefully, I was still driving it knowing it had a blown head gasket, but I was trying to get the dually motor going before this, but this didn't give me a choice, so got to get the daily done first. So let's finish getting these heads ripped off, got the Y bridge out, and let's get these bolts cleaned out so I can get this off. Then next will be rocker arm shafts, push rods, head bolts. These heads are coming off. Let's do it.
Let that sunrise be your wake-up call. When times get tough, that's when it's time to give it your all. Don't let one mistake.
Alright, so got all the rocker boxes off, rocker arm shafts, push rods, rocker bridges, all the valve train. And one tip, I'll give you a couple tips right now. Always loosen up all your lash, because Duramaxes have adjustable rockers. So when you take these off, always loosen all these and back the screws off, because there is going to be tension on some of these, and I've seen these, if they're just right or too tight, it will break your shaft, your rocker shaft, which this whole thing is one unit. If you don't loosen all these, you could crack and break your shaft because there's a bunch of pressure here, and when you loosen this up, it could spring up and break it. So loosen up your lash before you take these off. And sorry, another tip, when you get to this point and you're getting ready to take these off, you see all the 18 mil 12 point bolts, those are your head bolts. Do not forget about the 4 6mm Allens on top on each side. And that's for every Duramax. Don't forget those. You try and yank and pry and you're going to mess up a sealing surface, break the head maybe, break some bolts off in the block. Just don't forget these 4 on each side. Same on this side. Bam, 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 bam. Those 4. Don't forget those. And then on this side, you either take off your manifold, which I have done, or pull your dipstick tube, and sometimes these are cranky, so I elected to pull the manifold. It came right off, so we're going to leave the rails on for now. And of course, if you're taking a head off, you have to take the Y bridge off, because you can't take the runners off unless you take turbo out or pull the head. So we are literally at the point of pulling head bolts and yanking these heads off, guys. Like I said, it looks pretty dadgum clean for the miles and the abuse this thing has gone through. Definitely could have used an oil change, but it's not like all sludgy in here, nothing like that. So I'm impressed. Let's get these heads ripped off, see what cylinders look like. And there we have it, folks. She is stripped down to the short block. And I'm going to show you guys right now. Anyone that ever talks crap on a Duramax, especially the LLY, which is kind of known as the bastard child of the Duramaxes, and yeah, face is a little messy, but use that Milwaukee half-inch impact, it'll spin this motor around. That's how tough it is. Got to watch out, it'll hurt your wrist. Them Milwaukee half-inches are so good. But anyone that talks smack about these LLY Duramaxes, show them this video. $380,000 miles of me just beating the brakes off of this thing. It's kind of hard to see on camera, and the cylinder wall is a little dirty. Let me mount up the flashlight here. Look at the beautiful cross hatching and carbon hardening on this. Now, I know a lot of guys take a Duramax apart and they're like, oh no, what are all these cheated spots on my cylinder? And the cylinder wall is actually impregnated with carbon. It's hardening for the upper half of the cylinder where the power stroke happens, where the big boom happens. So that's completely normal, and it's actually great to still see it as good as you do on this engine. Another one. Look at the cross hatching on that bad boy. The pistons look beautiful. Again, a little bit of diesel fuel, a little oil down in there, but you can kind of see a little rusty over here, right there. This side's a little bit worse, which it's a fatal flaw on these LB7 and LLYs, was the gaskets were just crimped together in layers instead of riveted together like LBZ and up and all the new upgraded gaskets. So that's why the LB7 and LLYs fail more than the LBZ LMMs. LMLs, those fail just as much, if not more than these. So again, pistons look great, a little bit of carbon buildup on them, but beautiful nonetheless. You can almost see a little bit of water evidence in this cylinder, which I believe is the cylinder that had the head gasket blown the most. But we'll get that spun around and make sure it's all good. Maybe knock the carbon ring off top of all these. But even then, I'm pretty mean to this thing, so you could hardly catch. I could probably wipe the carbon ring out of this with some brake clean. Cylinder heads don't look too bad. What I will end up doing is cleaning these up, because I have to take all the parts off of them. But I have a machinist straight edge that is machined within 1/10,000th of an inch, I think. And we will put it up to these heads and see how warped they are. Same with both of them. We'll check them. This one here is the driver's side head, and this is the passenger. Still looks good enough, but we're gonna go better. But she's apart. The cross hatching still looks great. Pistons look great. No cracked pistons or nothing, which LB7 LLY pistons almost never crack. These will break a crank long before it cracks piston. I mean, of course, unless you're driving around with a hung open injector or something stupid, but usually you'll melt it before you crack it. And yeah, the weakness on these bottom ends is the crank, then rods, and that's about it. The pistons on these things are bulletproof. The LB7 and the LLY have the same rotating assembly, and the only difference is the cylinder heads, of course, because they changed the injectors to outside the valve cover, things like that on the LLY. But physically, the block and the rotating assembly is the same, except for an 0102 LB7 because the oil pressure sensor is in a different location. But that's for another day. So I'm super excited. We finally got it tore apart. Everything looks great. No bent push rods. Everything came out like it should. And we're going to do a deep cleaning. Hopefully do some powder coating. Get this thing shined up, sealed up, ready to tear the town up again. Alright guys, so sorry it took so long for this video, but like I said in my RC video, I've just been dealing with holidays, and again I repeat, I hope you guys had a great Halloween, great Thanksgiving. If it's for you this time of year as well, I hope you did great on your hunting season. Hope you're able to put meat on your family's table, and I hope you were able to get out in the woods and have some fun. So finally got the Duramax tore down. It's actually in way better condition than I thought. I'm probably going to still flip the motor over. We're going to reseal the lower oil pan, the upper oil pan, adapter plate. We're just going to go through and reseal this whole thing while it's out. And then, of course, I think I'm going to end up going with new heads. I might be going to LBZ heads, since I'm going to replace them anyways. Put new heads with head studs, new Mahle grade C gaskets, and we're going to get her put back together, cleaned up, the new Y bridge, and just fix all the issues it has and get her ready to rip. I know I talked about in a video before we were going to put a single S400 on it. Not yet. I just want to get this thing going, get this thing, make sure it's not leaking nothing before we go turning the wick up on it. So I think we're going to change and invest that money into just making sure this thing's as solid as possible. No leaks, no nothing. I want to be able to hop in this thing and drive to New York from Colorado here. So we're going to take care of all the issues it has. Of course, we are going to upgrade some things while I'm in here, and we will go through those things. A lot of them are cheap or free, which is always awesome. But we are going to go through all those, and we are going to get this thing fixed up. So like I said again, I'm super sorry it's been so long since I've made any content, and hopefully we're going to get back on track with it. Of course, Christmas is coming up, and I hope you guys are planning for that, but I'm going to try and get back on the content train, whether it be the Duramax, the dually, RC cars, anything. I'm just going to try and keep you guys entertained through these winter months. We're going to get to work. So awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell. Let me know how you think the Duramax looks on the inside, and if you think it's better or worse than you thought it was going to be at 380,000 miles of me just whooping this thing's butt. And let me know if there's anything you would do while you're down this far. And just let me know how you think. What's your favorite generation of Duramax? Let me know that in the comments. So, thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you on the next one.